In our Red France series, as we know, a Cold War has been going on between imperialists, which went from imperial communism to just imperialism, and then we have the communists. The communists are not as likely to cause any problems. But for some reason, when Russian troops start marching in, a problem is made because they decide to march right into Poland. And well, Red France, this isn't good. The Reds aren't happy about this. So, well, a war begins. And well, all of the Imperial League is called to the defense. Not Imperial League, but the Commune League, which is what we called it, versus the Imperial League. And well, they're ready. And not long after, all of this alliance is called in. And you may be like, the Imperial League has been called in? Yes, it has. Well, now this is a war. And we'll call it World War VI. Well, as you can see. And I would say, most likely, the Democratic League is more so pro them. So pro the communists over the imperialists. The imperialists are more of a threat to them if they win. Because, well, they start moving in, and their front line begins. As they start encircling it and pushing back, Romania starts moving down into Bulgaria, as well as attacking Serbia with Russian troops moving into Turkey against the communists. Well, as you can see, this is not going well. Especially for Bulgaria puppet, as the puppet of Bulgaria has collapsed, which leads to the puppet of Greece and the puppet of Turkey being pushed back, as well as Serbia, which isn't good. Well, Yugoslavia, Serbia, whatever you want to call it. Well, in the Asian front, well, Commune of India is struggling against Imperial Pakistan. Well, just Pakistan. But they're also winning in another front, with nothing happening in one front. This front, because both sides can't get past. But India starts climbing the mountains, yeah, literally. They make small advances into China and northern Pakistan. And quickly they start moving further into Tibet. That's what I mean by quick. Not really quick. With a crazy thing happening. Well, Egypt decides to go through the Sinai and the Palestine state with the goal of creating them into communes after, but they justify it as a way to get resources up to Turkey easier with rapid Russian advances. With Russia managing to get to the Turkish coast. As they start an advance there, but at this point, some Egyptian forces arrive and help the Turks hold on. But on the other front, which is the west front for them, they lose Istanbul. Or at least I assume they changed it to it by now in this timeline. With them moving, and now they've encircled Ankara, taking it. With Egyptian forces moving in to try to stabilize it. With the front becoming like this. Russia then comes up with an idea of invading Iran. Iran has oil, no, at this point. And so, since it's probably 1960s, we could say, well, they start quickly advancing into Iran. With Egypt trying to get forces into them. They've lost the capital, and they start losing significantly. But Egypt managed to capture the oil-rich areas, sustaining it. With the front ending up like this. And well, then after the encirclement, this area of Iran surrenders. And they make a massive advance into Serbia, managing to capture northern parts of Albania and then all of the country as they move into Croatia. And at this point, the war is not in the favor of them. Within the Asian front, it's very close, and they make a tiny advance there and there, with Imperial China not being very popular. And so that's not pretty good. Egypt decides to help with getting forces in, decides to invade Sudan. This has two reasons for it. One, they can use it to expand, and B, they also go after Kenya. This makes it easier to attack the rest of the African forces. With them quickly moving into Sudan, they do a fast offensive to avoid pushback. Quickly doing this, overrunning the country, encircling everywhere, and making spearheads everywhere, quickly overrunning the country. With Kenya and Tanzania trying to put up a defense, but Algerian forces arrive in, and Spanish forces, which helps them advance even further. With them quickly overrunning Kenya, Tanzania makes a counter-offensive, but basically to no avail. They manage to take the Kenyan coast, but that doesn't really matter because they're not really fighting on that coast. Pakistan and India in a stalemate at this point because the Asian front isn't as strong. And well, with the African front being taken right over by them. Saudi talks to the imperialists because they believe if they join the war, they can annex Iraq. Which ends up happening, they join. And they also bring Jordan into the war for their benefit. Which you may think this is good. Well, it is, actually. With them moving into Iraq, quickly forces in Iraq are overrun, and Iran. They force up even into southern Turkey. Turkey tries to launch a counter-offensive, but it fails. They don't even move an inch. But the front starts to stalemate. With Egypt in trouble, Algeria starts sending more troops, but this leads to the failure with them capturing major cities of Egypt, but they only get to here before Algerian forces stop them, and Libyan forces allow access to their lands, which leads them to having war declared on. And while in the Greek front, Greeks falls and they take Cyprus, which means Turkey has literally no chance. Turkey starts falling, as Egypt right now isn't trying to hold it back. Well, this isn't good. It just fell. With Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia falling. So now they move into Croatia, Hungary, Slovakia, and push back the Imperial forces, though Germany could fall. With them moving deeper in, with them using Myanmar as a way to make a better invasion. So what they quickly do is they invade Myanmar, quickly capturing the nation. But now they move the troops up, they make a tiny advance, and now they start persuading Vietnam to join or Thailand. They tell Vietnam they can have some lands from China. It doesn't work yet, as Pakistan advances even further. So Pakistan isn't struggling. And to get more Russian help, they believe an invasion of Afghanistan is a good idea. Yeah, Afghanistan. You heard that right. They think it's a good idea. With it being a huge mistake, as they fight persistently well, but eventually it's overrun. Because they have their full military sent in here, literally, to get Russian supplies through. Which, the problem with that is that the Afghan population keeps fighting back. And while both sides are trying not to make the Democratic League angry, with Nigeria and Cameroon becoming democracies, and they decide to join the Democracy League. The US is still hesitant about doing it, but getting more likely to do it as time goes on. And that's pretty much all for this part of today's video. Who do you think will win? How do you think the war will end? Will the Democratic League join the Communists, you think? well, they're more favorable to them. So let's see what happens in the next episode. Before now, that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe. Bye, guys!